Hello, dear friends, and welcome to The Voyage Within. I am so happy to have you here. On this week's topic, it is going to be about relationships. Now, isn't that something we can all relate on to some capacity? Because relationships are hard. Whether you are in one, you hope for one, you just got out of one, you've had too many relationships, you've never had one. There are so many dynamics that we can cover with this one topic. I am your host, Brittany Jackson. I specialize in personal development and how to live an authentic life leading from your heart. So how about we start with where I am at on the topic of relationships. So I have been single a little over 5 months now, and I'm just starting to dip my toes back into the pool of dating. Normally, I would have thought this is not very fun. It can be exhausting with all of the searching, if you are on dating apps, constantly making decisions. Am I interested in this person or not? Am I attracted to this person or not in a romantic way? Could I see any potential? Should I swipe what they call right, as in I'm interested, or left, as in no, I am not interested? And then if I do, the conversations, the date planning, and all the things. Usually that can sound like quite a task. But recently I heard this dating advice as if you were going to date for a long time, let's say over the span of 3 years until you met your person, how would you date within that time to make it manageable where you could date with longevity, not get burnt out, not get defeated? What would the balance be like for you? That could be going on a few dates a week or a month, spending a certain amount of days or time limits on a dating app. Or if you're doing the whole in-person thing, maybe going to social events with the intent or the hope of meeting somebody. What is a manageable and reasonable amount for you? What are your boundaries and limitations? Now, this is something I'm currently in the midst of figuring out while I keep this in mind. How much time can I spend on this and energy? What are my limitations? And what are my interests? What are my intentions? So as I'm figuring out this dynamic of where I'm currently at, before this chapter on starting dating again, there was the question on, am I ready to date, right? What is the right time frame for me? And that differs for everybody. I will say from my past experiences, before I started working on myself and becoming aware of myself and trying to become a more intentional human being, I was in that state of the subconscious where I was on autopilot and I didn't really think much about anything. I didn't put a lot of intention into anything, and I would just go with the flow. And in that state, I would go from one relationship to the next fairly quickly. The longest I was single between relationships was a matter of a month or so. I would just be getting out of a relationship and I'd be like, forget that. I don't care. On to the next. It didn't work out. Oh, well. And then the first person that crossed my path that I was attracted to enough and interested in enough, I would go for it. And I would just be like, hey, let's see what happens. We have this connection or interest and let's just see where it goes, without a lot of thought or intention beforehand. And by dating in that patterning, I realized that I subconsciously and unintentionally ended up in a lot of relationships that felt more like toxic, dysfunctional, like situationships where there wasn't a lot of healthiness. There wasn't a lot of us both knowing who we were and what we wanted and how we could show up in the relationship healthy and intentional. So after I had had a string of those relationships, I finally came to the conclusion that something has to change to get a different result. There is a suggestion in my program that you should take a year to find out who you are. Spend a year single, abstinent, alone, and get to know yourself and connect with yourself. For a long time, I could not do that. Throughout my teens and my early and going into mid-20s, I could not do that because I really wanted to find my person. I mean, I was on this subconscious timeline and this agenda, right? I needed to meet my person in this kind of amount of time and way, so then we could get married and do all the things and have this happy white picket fence family and da 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 da. So I didn't feel like I had time to quote unquote waste because I had to find my person. I was operating from what you call an anxious attachment style, where I was driven by a lot of fear and anxiety about feeling like I needed something that would then make me whole and make me happy. And then everything will be okay. I thought that a relationship was the solution I had been looking for. So after numerous failed attempts, I said, okay, I am done. Like rock bottom in this relationship after breakup, train wreck essentially at that point. So I said, all right, I am finally willing to take that year to myself. No attention, no flirting, nothing outside of friendships and family. And I also decided to start therapy. That was the prompt for me to start therapy and look at what is going on here. Why am I so anxious? Like, why am I so feeling like I need and desire so deeply and greatly this kind of relationship? Long and behold, the only therapist I could find at that time was a man. And I was thinking, my God, am I done with men, right? I mean, I had been in all these relationships that weren't really healthy and all that fulfilling. And I'm like, the last thing I want is to work with and talk with a man. But at the time, I did not have health insurance and he was highly suggested. So I thought, hey, well, I might as well give him a chance, right? What real options do I have? I went into therapy feeling very defeated, discouraged, broken, depressed, like there was something wrong with me. Why could I not make a relationship work? Why could I not make somebody stay? What is wrong with me, right? I was taking these failed experiences as a reflection of myself. And looking back now, I don't believe that they were a reflection of myself in the sense that I was unworthy or undeserving, or like there was something so broken within me that couldn't be fixed. I think it was more a reflection of the unintentional space that I was in before I really got to know myself. How can I offer myself to somebody and a relationship if I don't know who I am? I cannot stress the importance of taking this time. So I went into that male therapist's office and I said, listen, I did not want to work with a guy. I did not want to talk with a guy. I really don't like guys or trust guys right now. And so I don't even know why I'm here. And how the male therapist responded was, I am so proud of you for coming in here despite feeling this way. And this is so brave of you. He held space for me and validated how I was feeling and what I thought for the first time in my life by a man. I was shocked and taken back, and I said, all right, let's give this a chance. Fast forward over 3 years now, I still see him today. I am so grateful for everything he has given me, all of his wisdom, his understanding, his support. Most importantly, believing in me and giving me grace when I couldn't do that for myself. And through taking that single time and working in therapy and getting to know what was I operating on that was not working for me anymore. I recently heard that through our upbringing, our childhood, society, culture, my family, that I was given a set of programming. So I entered into my 20s thinking I knew who I was, what I wanted, what worked for me and what didn't, when I honestly did not know any of those things at all because I never took the time and space to find them. And everyone is on a different journey, right? Like no one is going to hit the awakenings and understandings and lessons in the ways and times that I did. That is unique to each individual. So if you are younger than me or older than me and you are interested in taking this time for yourself to get to know who you are and build this relationship within yourself for yourself, you are not too young or too old to do that. That gift to give to yourself is available to you at any time. So a little bit more backstory on my dating history and experience was once I hit that year of being with myself, for myself, I was still not ready to date. I'm like, I am loving myself so much. I have not taken this kind of time for myself at all. Like the last thing I want to do is get in a relationship and have all of that shuffled up or all of this new stuff thrown at me that I don't know how to deal with. So fast forward to now, it is a year and a half that I've been single and in a relationship with myself and just really enjoying life with my friends, my family, my experiences. And that was another thought I had too, is like I keep thinking the code is to crack romantic relationships. But I was like, how are my relationships with my friends, with my family? How about I water and work on those relationships and really make sure that those are healthy? So then when a romantic relationship comes along, all my other relationships will be sorted out. And I am so grateful that I took that time to focus on those relationships because those relationships are just as important. If you are that person that prioritizes your intimate relationship above all else, and God forbid something happens that you guys break up or divorce or whatever the case, where are your friends and family? Where are the relationships that are still there waiting for you and loving you through all of those different romantic relationship experiences, the successes, the setbacks? Where were they on your priority list? Were you watering those relationships? Those relationships have been with you and have known you longer. So I hit a year and a half single, and my therapist strongly encouraged that I should try getting back out there and going on dates. And I'm thinking, dude, like you just set me straight after this series of, destruction, right? It felt like, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is get out there and mess it all up again. And he said, Brittany, you aren't that same person anymore. If you take this chance and this risk and put yourself out there again to find love, it is going to be a new and different experience because you have all new information to apply towards this. You have grown and evolved so much. You will not get the same things that you got before because you have done different things to make changes, to get something different. And with his faith in me, I believed him. So I went out there and I took a chance. So I went on a few dates, saw some things that weren't compatible with a few guys. And then the third guy came around. And hey, I was like, wow, third time's a charm, right? Like, I mean, we really hit it off from the beginning. We had a really great dating experience, and I am really grateful for him. Why I am so grateful for him is he was the first boyfriend in a relationship that really gave me a safe, intimate space to talk about things, share things I'd never shared with anybody before, an intimate and safe space to do the work with. We would meditate together. We were in individual therapy. We went to couples counseling together. which was my first time being in couples counseling. And wow, do I recommend it. 10 out of 10. I loved it. I thought it was so fun and interesting. And there were so many different exercises we did, and so many ways I learned about myself as an individual and how I do and don't show up in relationships, what kind of relationship dynamics would work best for me, and how to have healthy conversations in conflict, right? Because things will arise in any relationship. And I think the real key and the real success is handling them appropriately. So me and this guy really went in there and worked really, really hard to do what we could, do the best that we could, and really make this work. It wasn't that we didn't want it to work or that we didn't really care about each other. It was that there was just some incompatibilities and differences that no matter how hard we worked at this relationship, we just wouldn't be able to make it work because we were just too different on some views, beliefs, and interests. And that does not make him a bad guy or me a bad person. It just wasn't the right fit. So sharing this experience, because I had taken that time for myself, by myself, to get to know me and work on me, and then getting into that relationship, I was able to bring all of that into that relationship and attract a partner that was also doing that kind of work and interested in sharing that work together. So he was my first healthy relationship, and therefore we had a very healthy, loving, and supportive breakup. And it was a really beautiful experience that I'm really grateful he gave me. So now going back to that time of trying to figure out, when am I ready to date again and put myself out there again? And I'm not going to lie, I went through some struggles of feeling defeated, right? Like, oh my goodness, how many times do I have to open myself up, put myself out there, work on something, share myself with somebody, connect with somebody, and then have to say goodbye? I think for me personally, saying goodbye is the hardest part because, in all honesty, where I am taking accountability in my past relationships before therapy, I would also hold on to a relationship way too long. You know, you get red flag after red flag. In a lot of ways, I was a red flag too, collecting so many red flags. And I still stayed. So of course they hit such explosions in the end, because I didn't know how to let go. And that goes back to that anxious attachment, that anxiety, the fear of never having something, finding something, sharing something with somebody, being with somebody, and in return, getting exactly what I feared. So there are different attachment styles. If you are not sure which attachment style you are, there are tests available to take. There's the anxious attachment style. There's also the avoidant attachment style, which is on the other side of the spectrum that cannot open up, has so many walls, doesn't know who they are either because they also can't even open themselves up to themselves. They are so avoidant from connection and intimacy and vulnerability that they are like that icebox walking around that won't let anybody get too close and always trying to keep that upper hand and control of the relationship and the connection. And then where's the sweet spot? The secure attachment in between. And the secure attachment has boundaries, right? Like, this is who I am. This is what makes me feel safe. This is how I give and receive love, like a lot of self-awareness of who they are and what they need, but also giving space to their partner, right? Trusting their partner, not trying to control or manipulate their partner or the connections or who that person is or how they show up or their hobbies or their interests. But to balance all of that, I also do think you need a safe space to have difficult and hard conversations and express the things that maybe you don't like or are bothering you in a certain way about how they are or aren't showing up. But another relationship advice side note is, if you do confront them in this way, always make sure to make it about you. I am feeling this about how you are not showing up, and I want to see if we can find a solution, because what I would really like is this, because it makes me feel this, right? Like making it more about you and your needs and wants. Instead of being like, you don't do this, you don't do that, I need this, how come you don't? Because then that person is going to feel defensive and they're going to shut down. So after my last breakup, I took time to sit with the sadness, sit with the heartbreak. There was a lot of time with myself, a lot of time alone, a lot of crying, a lot of not feeling like doing anything, and allowing all of that to be okay. Not pushing myself to do something and be something that I am not ready for yet. That is also self-abuse, right? Like if you need time to feel your feelings and you need space to just check out of things, that is okay. That is self-love. So I took that time to do that. And also because my last breakup was so healthy, like we just got really great closure. We were on the same page. There was no baggage to take on. It wasn't beating myself up or beating him up. It just was. There's no definition. It wasn't right or wrong or good or bad. Our journey came to a close and it was time to let it go. And that is okay. And that is life. So going back to letting people go, that is really hard for me to think about sometimes, that I shared so much of myself with somebody, so much of my life with somebody, created all of these memories and experiences, and now it's just over and we're never going to see each other or talk to each other again. But at the same time, I do feel like it's appropriate to close the door and leave it there. There's no reason for contact or communication. I don't believe in the whole friend thing from me and my experiences. Obviously, there's exceptions to everything, and especially when there's kids involved, like to each their own. But for me, when a chapter's closed, a chapter's closed. For one, it's for my own well-being, just so there's no strings attached or nothing still connected or held on in any type of way. So I can cut, clean, and then move on to the next person that comes into my life and really be fully available and connected and out of respect for them. Because I guess treat other people how you would want to be treated in whatever avenue you believe in around that. But for me, I don't really see a reasoning for being friends with an ex unless children are involved. So here I am, over 5 months single, and some people gave me the permission that it is okay. You do not need to take a set amount of time. It doesn't have to be another year, year and a half, or whatever the case. There's no right or wrong. It's just whenever you feel good enough to try to open yourself back up again to connection, to relationship, to intimacy and vulnerability with no strings attached. And no matter how ready you are, that's always going to be intimidating or scared, right? Because to love is to risk, and to risk, there's a chance to lose. But what I can say is I have picked myself back up every time. I have applied what I learned, the good and the bad, and I made new, and I became a new person on the other side. And on the other side of this last relationship I had, I learned more about myself than I knew possible. So I had already learned all that stuff about me as an individual in my single journey, and then bringing this first relationship into my life that was really ready and willing to do the work too, I was able to learn about and discover all new parts of myself that I never would have been able to without him. I have been told that relationships are like mirrors. When someone comes into your life, their purpose is to hold a mirror up in front of you and show you things about yourself that you would never be able to see without them. Whether that's triggers, like where's this wound coming from? Why does this thing upset you so much? Or beautiful, wonderful things like, why do I feel so good about you? Like, what is it about you that makes me feel or show up in these certain ways? How do you help me show up better? Or how do you bring out the worst in me and why? Where is this coming from? All of these things are reflections to look back into us and who we are. Each person that comes into our life is a gift from God to reintroduce us to ourselves in a new way. And there are times where God's gift is also to remove them from your life when your journey together is complete. There's no more room or reason for us to move forward anymore. And for me to know that is, am I growing? Am I being my best self? Even if it's really hard and challenging, am I showing up in a good way? Or is this bringing out the worst in me and am I self-destructing? Like, where is my well-being? Is it better for me and my well-being to continue to invest in this? Or is this just taking too much that it's time to let go and walk away? And that is individual to each person and relationship and circumstance. There is no one size fits all. And that's what I'm learning as I'm trying to open myself up and like date again, is I want to take all of my past experiences and apply them to this new experience as how to go about it. But the truth is, no matter what I apply or don't apply, the journey is going to be whatever it's supposed to be. I have no control of the circumstances or the outcome, and there is never any guarantees. And that relationship I was last in also showed me that no matter how much you try to do the right thing or be on your best behavior or go to individual therapy, go to couples therapy, meditate together, have communications and check in with each other, no matter how healthy the relationship is, I can't control compatibility. I can't control who the person is or is not on the other side of this relationship dynamic. Like, it's not up to me to apply and work all of these tools to build something that just can't be built. So I think it's more left up to chance, the universe, timing. And I think that's what makes love and relationships so mystical and magical. This thing that we all want, and many of us don't even know how to obtain. Or many people are in relationships and it is just so stagnant and mundane. Is it because they rushed into it unintentional with the wrong reasons? Maybe they didn't know themselves, or maybe they changed. There's so many variables. But just know that it is okay if a relationship is complete. And it is also okay if you want to continue to work, learn, and grow. That's what relationships are for. Whether you're single, you're in one, you're wanting one, or you just got done with one. Embrace the journey. Embrace where you are. But just know, by not opening yourself up, not being seen for who you really are, not sharing yourself with somebody, will never get you what you truly want and what they say that we are truly created for, to connect, to share, and to build something with somebody really beautiful and special to you, and that is unique. So open yourself up and try again. Even if you're in that relationship and maybe you've gone through some hard things, or maybe you don't know why you're in it or if you want to be in it anymore, open yourself up to try to build a new relationship within that one. Try to do something different together to get a different result. Go on a couples retreat, go on a trip, go on a new date, try a new hobby, go to couples therapy. So many things can be discovered in couples therapy. And for me in my last relationship, what couples therapy did was give us the permission that it is okay to let go. It is okay to not try to force or make this into something it's authentically not. If something is right, do we really have to try so hard? And they say relationships take work. What is the work and what is the surrender and no need to control and allow something beautiful to evolve as is? I don't know. But I am open. I am open to learning, finding, enjoying, embracing. And on this new journey in dating, that's exactly what I hope to do. To be open to all possibilities, to be present with each individual that crosses my path and really learn from them, get to know them. It's okay if we have differences. It's okay if we have similarities. We all do. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect relationship, but in hopes that we are compatible enough and that we want this enough to do what we need to do to create what we hope for. Allow your relationships to evolve, not opening up, not trying, withholding, disconnecting, having walls, having fear and control. None of that will get you the results you want, and you deserve the results you want. So I would like to take this moment to share with you some affirmations. Please repeat them with me to yourself or out loud. I deserve true, full, happy, and beautiful love. I deserve to love myself first and share that love with others. I do what is best for me and my well-being. I consider others with compassion, love, and grace. I trust myself to have hard conversations. I deserve love. Now I would like to take this time to pray. Please feel free to invite in your God, higher power, Mother Earth, Father Fire. God, I pray over the listener that they allow themselves to love, protect, and care for themselves, and then in return be able to love, care, and respect others. I pray that they trust themselves, they trust your journey, your opportunities, your path, and your lessons for all the good that is in store for them to come. I pray that they find gratitude in all that they've experienced, all the lessons they have learned, and all of the challenges that they have overcome. We have all been through hard things when it has come to love. And we have all felt so much hurt that has made us want to shut off and not try and never open ourselves up to love again. And I pray that this person finds the strength to open themselves up to love again. I pray that they feel the love for you that you have for them. And I pray that they see how worthy and deserving that they are of good, beautiful, and full things in this life. I pray that they get intentional and they spend time with themselves. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me here on The Voyage Within. I hope you were able to learn something new, and I hope you are able to apply something different onto your life and its circumstances to get different results. You are strong, you are worthy, and I would love to hear about any questions that you have about relationships. I would love to create another episode on this. It's such an important topic on relationships and love. What would you like to hear about? What would you like to know? And I will see you on an all new episode. Until then, live well and be happy.